What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Culture 316 podcast. I am one of your hosts and producers, Jordan Nahisi.
Joined by your concussed co-host at this point of recording, Mo. What is up, people?
Thank you guys so much for joining us on this latest episode. Also, for anybody who was kicking it with us during Vengeance Day, thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. There's a lot to talk about and unpack. But first things first, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify podcast, be sure to give us a subscription. Be sure to give the show 5 stars. This is how we expand the show, how we grow as a show. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. There's been a lot going on. Dynamite literally just went off the air. Sting and Darby Allin are the brand new AEW Tag Team Champions. But there's other things that we got to tend to because Tony Khan had a big announcement. So let's get right into that. I would say in the second hour of the show, Tony Khan made his big announcement. And that is that on March 13th, live from Boston, Massachusetts, AEW presents Big Business. That's March 13th. Tickets are on sale. It's 5 weeks until this event. And we saw a couple of interesting little tidbits in the background and graphics and court, including a little boss in the background, a couple dollar signs, reminding us of a very, very familiar, very popular, very loved women's wrestler. Y'all should know who I'm talking about. But Mo, how do we feel about Big Business? And do you have any predictions as to what may be possibly going on?
I mean, the biggest thing is obviously, that Sasha Banks is clearly coming back. I mean, they've been talking about it all over the news for like the last freaking week or whatnot. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, I'm still like bummed out that she's not in the E, but I mean, she's happy. She's happy. And I'm assuming they got a big build going for it. And I was just talking about this earlier on the phone with Zaire, but I just find it really interesting how like while AEW got their shit going over there with their allegations with
What
Jericho, and then
WWE meaning?
over there in AEW they got the Jericho stuff,
Oh
and
yeah, they
then
do.
in
Yeah.
WWE they got their stuff going. It feels like wrestling's also imploding, but at the same time they're working their asses off to distract you from what's going on. So I was acknowledging that between both companies. So it's kind of interesting because I'm like, I never had such a fun time being a wrestling fan and
Mm-hmm.
also disgusted. So it's pretty awesome, and congratulations for them. Going to Boston, Massachusetts, and like I'm actually looking forward to see what they do with Sasha Banks. 'Cause even though I wanted her in the E, I mean I feel like she has some plans. She has something big crafted. I mean they wouldn't go out their way to do all these video packages for nothing. The biggest question is like what's her first opponent? Um, and all I could think of is Soraya. I'm not sure if you
Mm-hmm.
had any other suggestions, but I have nothing else to be really excited for Boston, Massachusetts. All I could think of is Sasha, or Mercedes, I should say. Sorry, God, I can't announce her slave name, but yeah,
Slave name is crazy.
it is a slave name. She don't like the E anymore. I'm not getting her back. Like I can't be delusional anymore. But how do you feel about it, Jordan?
I feel great. I think this is kind of the first time we've seen, and just to kind of show you the popularity of Mercedes Moné, I think the last time we got a branded version of AEW Dynamite that was supposed to signify the debut of a new wrestler was when CM Punk made his AEW debut. So I'm very, very interested to see how this turnout is going to be. They're going to be doing the TD Garden, which is they most notably did WWE Survivor Series, obviously home to the Boston Bruins and the Boston Celtics. So this is an NBA arena. This is an NHL arena. We're talking anywhere between 15 to 20,000 seats. So we're going to really see in real time how much of a draw Mercedes Moné is, even though we know Sis is a draw. I'm very, very excited to see what comes of it. Like you said, I could see Soraya, but with the addition of Deonna Purrazzo, I feel like that could be a potential opponent as well. Tony Storm, Mariah May. I feel like there's a lot of possibilities when it comes to Mercedes Moné in AEW, and I'm just glad that even though she's not going to be necessarily in the E, she's clearly getting the treatment she deserves with AEW, especially if they're making a spectacle out of her AEW debut. So I'm really, really
Hello.
happy, and I'm really, really eager to see what's next for her. But we want to know how you guys feel about apparently and allegedly what seems to be the debut
That's
of
strange.
Mercedes Moné in AEW? Let us know in the comments below. But we're gonna be moving on to the next topic. So obviously, this past, I believe it was Saturday or Sunday, we all watched NXT Vengeance Day. It was a loaded show. A lot happened, especially towards the end. And I wanted to get your impressions of your highlights of the night, um, and just how you felt about the show overall. How did you feel about NXT Vengeance Day?
Um, I went into it thinking it was for black people, and I did not get the notice that it was indeed not for black folks during Black History Month. Um, I think we're like 1-0 or one. No, sorry, one in what, five? There's 5 or 6 matches. Yeah. Um. There was like 3 matches, 3-4 matches that had black folks on it. We lost like 2 or 3. I was like, oh my god. And then I was like, all right, if they gonna lose the cup, then Mello gotta come through. You can't just do that to Mello yet again. Sorry, Mello, to Trick yet again. And then surely enough, Mello was being a bitch. At this point, I was turned up into space, and I was so mad. I was adding everyone. I was adding Mello. I was adding Rock. I was adding AJ Lee. I put Punk into it. I was so upset. I was just like, yo, I had it up to here. I was mad excited for this pay per view, and the only person that was able to carry weight was yours truly. What you call the championship again?
The NXT BET Plus champion Obafemi.
Yeah, there you
Yes.
go. Oba. Oba was the only one that pulled through for us. That's all I had to hang my hat on. We had black on black crime on Black History Month. That's how we ended the show. I was stressed. But if I had to deduct that and I was just paying attention to the overall of the show, the matches were actually solid. It was a fun pay per view, and I feel like me personally, I always enjoy NXT's pay per views. I really can't remember the last time I actually watched an NXT pay per view and I was like bored, or I mean, I could have been mad, but I was still like into it. Like
Hmm.
all the matches I thought were pretty much solid. I mean, I was pretty lit at the end, but I thought the main event was cool. I want to say my favorite one of the night had to definitely be tag team. I do like the tag team. I'm gonna go with the tag team. I think the tag team is actually my favorite match so
Mm.
far. But yeah, yeah. We discussed the Melo's turn here.
Yes. Yes, we are.
Okay, yeah, he a bitch. No, it's just okay. Like I'm mad at the timing when they chose to do this. And I know it's gonna create a good feud. I know it's gonna be a really, really good, hard hitting feud. It's just that I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready, and then this man had the audacity to pull a HBK on us the next night or next 2 nights, and have Trick's music and then laugh at us. Like I want to make sure my boy is okay. Why'd you have to sneak him like that? Like he just did right by you. He held you down for how many years while you was champion? You can let him have this moment. Why you gotta be a hater? Mello's like a reminder of that type of friend you have to avoid. That like
Yep.
they like you, but they just don't want you to be better than them.
Yep.
Okay, they will not allow that. They'll disarm you. Like Mello just got me tight. I mean, I don't know, bro. I don't know. How do you feel about it?
So I'm gonna start with the NXT Vengeance Day overall impressions. Obviously, anytime NXT does a show, super fun, super solid. My favorite match of the night was probably OTM versus the family. Obviously, us seeing Jada Parker kind of pop out for the first time.
Oh yeah.
Think it was a good little showing for her. Um,
Oh.
However, what I will say though is that I feel like NXT has kind of struck this balance between what their premium live events were when they were kind of in the initial 2.0 era and what the takeovers used to be. And they have this really nice mix of the old and the new. I also really like the Dusty Cup finals, the match in the beginning. Um, all signs are kind of pointing towards Baron heading towards the main roster. So if that is actually the case, I'm glad that he got that W. I'm glad that he got that win and added that to his resume. Now, on to the heel turn. This feud is about to feed families, and I'm so excited. I like. This is really about to be, you know, Gargano and Champa on Revolt TV. It's like the love child that we always needed. All right. This is about to be a fantastic feud. We all know what Mello is capable of. I feel like Mello and Adam Cole are very, very similar in the sense that when these guys are heels, they cook. And so I think that we're gonna see a heel Mello going up against arguably the most over face in NXT in Trick Williams. And I feel like they're going to have a banger match probably at WrestleMania weekend. I'm predicting Stand and Deliver. They're going to have some type of hardcore match or street fight or what may have you. The promos are going to cook. The match is going to cook. I'm super duper excited about it. But man, I'm just, you see my smile. I was waiting for that heel turn. It's been building, it's been brooding. We saw little subtleties happen with Mello's facial expressions, his body language, things that he would say and things that he would do when he was around Trick that let you know something was up. And then on Tuesday, when he kind of tied it in all together, it was just like, this is fantastic. This is great. And I feel like the feud is really, really going to cook. And I'm super, super excited. But we want to know how you guys feel about NXT Vengeance Day because we're on the road to WrestleMania, which means that we are also on the road to NXT Stand and Deliver, which is going to be happening in Philly on WrestleMania weekend. So let us know how you felt about NXT Vengeance Day. But we are going to be moving on because obviously something that has been making waves in the wrestling world has been the Roman Reigns versus The Rock WrestleMania 40 main event with the status of Cody Rhodes pending. If you watched SmackDown last week, you would have known that it was kind of insinuated that The Rock will now be going after Roman Reigns. However, there were reports that were coming out on Twitter saying that officials have been passing out, or somebody had been passing out, "We want Cody" signs on Raw. And it kind of leads me to think this may not be as real as we think it is. Do you think that the "We Want Cody" movement is a work, or do you think it's real?
I I think that it started off as not a work, but then they're making it into a work because it ended up working. By
Mm,
that I mean this. Okay, you have the whole TKO thing happening, and I don't think that they're smart enough to pre-plan the tying into that. And you have a lot of people in the back that are very big fans of Dwayne, are very close friends with Dwayne. Um, and I felt like watching the show that they always tend to snub Cody just a little bit, and I can't help but to think that he gets snubbed just because, yeah, he was in AEW, and
mm-hmm,
yeah, he took direct shots. So I feel like they almost kind of like cock tease him with his position, but I feel like the crowd kind of took over,
mm-hmm,
and now they're trying to make it work into an angle to where it's going to work into Cody's favor, because I just feel like watching that segment with Cody and Rollins in the same ring and the crowd just like literally cracked me all over Rock. I forgot what the chant was. But what was it? Was something Rocky. What about it? What was the chant? If you remember it, you don't remember,
I
it's
don't even
cool.
remember. I don't even remember. I
But it
think
was. Mhm,
I
go
don't
ahead.
remember it, to be honest.
Whatever. There was a chant that
I think
made
it was
Seth
Rocky
Rollins.
Sucks.
Yeah, it was something like that, and like
Yeah.
it actually like threw off Seth Rollins. Like you see the
Mm-hmm.
natural look in his face that like he wasn't even expecting that, and I
Mm-hmm.
just feel like we're like the most ruthless crowd out there. If we don't like you, you'll know it. If we love you, you'll know it. And I feel like we are in a day and age where I don't think that is necessary to have Dwayne hijack this. I was more excited to see him last year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind seeing him at all, but I don't think it was necessary to have him rob Cody of opportunity, because we watched him take a major L last year, but we came to terms with it because they maneuvered the pay-per-view, sorry, not the pay-per-view, the storyline to being what it was, and it ended up being a very beautiful thing. Now it's like a little too late for me
Mm-hmm.
personally, because like you don't want to have Cody come over here for nothing and lose his momentum.
Right.
And I think the crowd sees that there's more you could get out of a Cody match than you could get out of a Dwayne match. Dwayne's old. He's in his 50s for crying out loud. Like, he
Mm-hmm.
can't do too much, and he displayed that when he was wrestling with Jinder Mahal. So, to me, I feel like the crowd sees through that. It's like, hey, we love you, Dwayne, but this is Cody's time. Why are you taking it? But I
Mm.
feel like WWE sees that and they're gonna try to like build this into some underdog angle. And I
Mm-hmm.
still feel like in the back of my head, maybe this might end up being a triple threat. I don't think Cody's gonna fully lose his opportunity. I don't know why, but I can't see it. I feel like he's gonna get somehow wedged in there, or maybe they just might try to give him like a Daniel Bryan moment or something. But either way, Cody's gonna come out being a major baby face out of
Mm-hmm.
this. Like, it's people have been calling it like a cult, the type of like support that Cody has. Like, I saw, didn't you open up on Twitter today and see someone get a neck tattoo in the same spot as Cody?
Nuts. Unhinged.
Cody
I
don't
saw
even
it.
like the placement of his tattoo, and fans are out here getting Cody tattoos. Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, I don't think you could fake this. You just can't. But I feel like knowing them, they see what's going on. They're not gonna try to make Dwayne look bad. So
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna try to manipulate it into a way to be like, oh, ha ha, we planned this just so like you appreciate it more when Cody gets over. But
Mm-hmm.
that's what I think. I think that it was not a work that's being formed into a work. But what do you think?
I'm going to start off by saying something that my therapist told me years ago. History doesn't repeat itself, it just rhymes. This entire situation brings me back to 2014 WrestleMania 30 when we were set on Batista versus Randy Orton in the main event of WrestleMania in New Orleans. And then all of a sudden, we see the surging popularity of one Daniel Bryan. And the Yes movement absolutely hijacks Raw and thus makes it possible for Daniel Bryan to have a match against Triple H, which would then allow him to have the opportunity to go up against Batista and Randy Orton in the main event of WrestleMania 30, which then leads to one of the most iconic moments in the history of WrestleMania. When I'm looking at this particular incident, I feel like I'm seeing the same thing. There are certain nuances that make it very, very unique. One of those being that Cody's story has been something that we've been hearing about for the past year and change ever since that he's been, well, 2 years really, ever since he's been back in WWE. I think that everybody was kind of set on Roman and Cody happening at Mania, especially at the end of the Royal Rumble when we saw Cody point to the WrestleMania sign and then point at Roman Reigns, kind of implying that I'm going after your title, bro. Um, so I think that's what makes it different. As far as it being a work or a real thing, I feel like it's kind of a little bit in between because I feel like none of this was really planned. Because once again, the initial plan of everything was that we were going to have Punk and Seth, and then we were going to have Cody and Roman, right? That's what it looked like was going to happen until we found out that CM Punk is unfortunately injured and will be missing 6 to 12 months for rehabbing and all those things. So I feel like nothing was really set in stone, and I feel like nothing was really the A plan to go to. I feel like there were certain things that were said that kind of implied certain things, and then fans kind of ran with it. You know what I'm saying? Like between the stare down between Rock and Roman, between Cody saying I have somebody to bring in, nobody really knows who's facing who. Everything has just been implied. Everything has just been kind of like a little hint here, a little hint here. And I actually kind of think it's genius because it's like because everybody's mad, but nobody confirmed anything. Nobody confirmed anything. It's like, oh well, Rock is taking Roman's, Rock is taking Cody's spot. Who said Rock was taking Cody's spot? They just locked eyes. And I think that's the genius part about it is that nobody has really confirmed anything, but everybody kind of sees an interaction and they run with it. So
Yeah.
WWE has the the pleasure and the advantage of getting all these interactions and sowing all these different seeds, but they haven't committed to anything yet. Which means that the WrestleMania main event is still unknown and it could be anything. I do believe that this WrestleMania press conference, whenever it is and whatever it is probably going to be the beginning of the actual build. And so
Mm.
I'm very, very eager to see that. But as far as if it's a work or if it's real, I think it's a work at this point. Like the powers that be, if Triple H is the guy that is in charge, which it looks like he is, he was in this position 10 years ago. He knows what to do. And so I think that this is definitely a work, and I'm very, very eager to see what happens next. But we want to know how everybody else feels. We want Cody. Is it a work? Is it real? Let us know in the comments below. But we are going to be moving on because speaking of The Rock, things have just gotten out of hand. Obviously, wrestling fans are super passionate about their WrestleMania main event. And unfortunately, it has affected the daughter of Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Miss Ava Rain, who is on screen, the NXT general manager. She has deactivated her Twitter because of receiving multiple death threats in light of her father hinting at being a part of the WrestleMania main event. I just want to know your opinion on this, on all this.
Um, Wrestling fans are really out of control, and I actually feel sorry for Simone. Like, I know I'm always dragging her. Like, I'm always dragging her for her lip and her inability to put them together at times when she's not speaking. But I think it's crazy and it's sad and unsettling that, like, for some reason we're watching this. I understand that we forget that this is a scripted sport, and
Mm-hmm.
we're watching it's like television. We get wrapped up in our emotions when we watch certain things, but it's just like, what was she gonna do? What exactly did you want her to do? Like, did you want her to phone her daddy and be like, "Dad, you can't do this. You have to give this to Cody." Like, what kind of pull do you think that Simone Johnson has on the WWE? Do you not see where her career is going?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, she's not doing very much of anything of importance. Why did you think that she has control over WrestleMania? That you're just gonna go to her? Like, I just thought that was just weird. It was odd. And I just feel like it goes back to us being such a very emotional, entitled fan base.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish we had this energy towards other things. We
Right.
don't.
Right.
It's just weird what we pick and choose to be very mad about.
Yeah.
Because clearly, like, we have some power in your heads, right? We got all this power. You guys want to use it for picking on
The wrong
Simone.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, the wrong things at that. The things where we want your power and your backing. You guys are just like silent crickets. Oh, it's not that serious. It's just WWE. It's not that it's a scripted sport. But like for WrestleMania, you're really coming at Dwayne's daughter. I just thought that was just really weird. I feel very sorry for her. It's not a good feeling to get death threats, guys. It's
Right.
not cool. It's really not cool. I'm happy she actually deactivated and got off social media. It must be really hard, bro, being a wrestler, because I would have burner accounts if I was on Twitter or Instagram or whatnot. I would literally have a social media manager run my account and just have my burners and play on my burner accounts, because it's just too much with the way these teenagers. I'm assuming it's not adults. I'm assuming that it's teenagers or young adults or whatever running around these not burner accounts, these avatar accounts, stand accounts or whatnot, just running their mouths, just like saying anything. It's just like, at the end of the day, I mean, I might not be a fan of her work or anything that she does because she's bad at everything. But one thing I would say is that Ava, I'm sorry, I gotta get my licks in. Ava is a person. She is a human. She has feelings. You don't know what's going on in her life, what's going on in her day. Y'all could have said something that really actually pushed this girl to the edge. All over a goddamn main event. Like, do you not see how weird that is? Like, channel that energy into something else to be mad at. Leave the girl alone. I hope she's somewhere happy, healing with her friends, her family, not thinking about this. Like, bro,
Mm.
chill out. Chill out. I can't stand you guys sometimes because I enjoy being a fan up until shit like this happens and I had to speak on behalf. Like, yo, I I try to defend that we're not that embarrassing, and then y'all just pull things like that where you're either stalking people or you're harassing them or you're infiltrating their houses. Like, I can't. I can't keep up. Stop it. Just be normal. It's not that hard. Damn. Jordan, take it away.
I'm weak. So here's my thing, right? When you were like, I'm assuming as teenagers, I like wrestling fans are so passionate that I feel like she's getting this from all different audiences, and that's what just makes it more disturbing, right? Like death threats are just like never okay. Like they've
Mhm.
never been okay. And what's worse
Mhm.
is that you will do this on social media and then you'll see these people in person and you won't peep a word. And that to me is like a whole other level of cowardice to me. But yeah, like in addition to the fact that Ava doesn't have any pull, I just don't think that it's just acceptable as a human being to issue a death threat to anyone,
Yeah.
regardless of what their relationship is to anyone. Right?
Mhm.
Like we all have our personal preferences. We may not agree with the creative decisions of every wrestling company or every wrestling storyline, but that does not warrant death. It just doesn't. And there's
Not at all.
no rational reason or rational based reason for you to be threatening somebody when you don't get the main event that you want. It just not
Or anything that you want.
it's not that deep. It's not that deep. I promise it's not that deep. But I do want to say, Ava, I hope that you are taking this time to recharge and refuel and get around some people that love you and that care about your well-being. Um, Obviously, social media is not real life, but the things that we hear and that we see on social media can be very, very destructive to our holistic being. I just hope that you're doing what's best for you right now in this point in time and that you are getting the necessary help in order for you to be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be. But we want to know how you guys feel about this. Why are y'all sending death threats to these people? It's not
Go
cool. It's not
outside.
funny. Yeah, go outside, drink some water, get hydrated. A lot of y'all dehydrated. And that's the problem. pH balance off and you sending death threats. That's crazy. But let us know how y'all feeling about Ava in the comments
Yo.
without any depth. Because if y'all say anything harmful in these comments, I will block you. But we
And
are
I'll
moving
fight
on.
you.
We're moving on because speaking of block, the beast incarnate, Brock Lesnar, has been removed from the 40 years of WrestleMania edition of WWE 2K24. It was announced a couple weeks ago that WWE 2K24 will be released. And they have three different covers: one with Cody Rhodes, another one with Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley, and then another one with multiple superstars on the 40 years of WrestleMania edition. But Brock Lesnar has been removed, obviously, in light of the sexual assault allegations that have been running rampant about multiple WWE officials. Brock has been lumped in with some of those allegations. Do you think that 2K and that WWE made the right move? Because now I believe Brock is off and John Cena is on. Do you believe that WWE 2K made the right move by taking off Brock Lesnar?
You could never go wrong with having John Cena on a cover, and I'm actually
Right.
surprised he's not on the cover originally because
Right.
he
Yeah.
actually was. Yeah, he was a recent face that we saw, so very
Mm-hmm.
much shocked about that. Now are they wrong to remove him? No, because um, well, it was kind of blatantly put out there. I know they said allegedly, but come on, how many MMA UFC fighters you have?
Yeah. Yeah.
Saying the shoe fits. All right.
Right.
Like you at that point, it's not very marketable that this is an ongoing thing. You try and get pre-orders out. People have a nasty taste in their mouth, and it's like even if this goes away, any person could come out and be like, I was also a victim, I was also a victim or whatnot, and it's gonna circle back to things like that. You know what I mean? It's not a good look. I'm pretty sure Brock don't care, to
Yeah.
be honest.
Yeah.
Just get him and his personality. He already kind of like paid his dues, and he kind of milked this company and got whatever the hell he wanted. I mean, it probably was like the easiest pension that anyone could possibly ask for that he lost. But I don't think Brock really is that much bothered. I mean, it's not like he's like a continuous face on the show. It's not like he was holding the belt or anything, and it's not like it was too much of a drastic change for him. I don't think he probably feels guilty.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's probably okay with it, and like, all right, like this is how it ends, whatever. I'm gonna go back to doing what I'm doing. But I think it was smart in terms of like a business move to get rid of it, because you obviously want to move away from the internet as much as possible. Like right now, they are doing their hardest to try to wipe or I don't even say like clean off any fingerprints, because I'll be honest, the detectives done got that shit and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There's no type of way you could try to polish this, but they're trying to make this like not look as bad as it is, and the least you could possibly do is not have faces that already been identified to be tied in with this case. So I mean, good for them. Good for John Cena for getting on yet another cover of a game. Um, can we take off Hogan while we're at it, though?
Please, please take off Hogan off of
I'm just
2K24.
saying, while we're at it, with
Please.
terrible people that don't represent your company correctly, can we take off the person that dropped the N word and said obscene things about black people? It is Black History Month. It's the perfect time to make it right. All right, take it off now. Take
Please.
it all off.
Please.
I'm sorry.
You're good. For the love of God,
I hate
please
him.
take Terry. Please take. I'm not calling him by his. I'm not calling him by his stage name. I'm calling him what his mama called him. Please take Terry off of 2K24. I don't know what. I don't know. Like, are y'all dumb? Like, this man had a whole retirement banner in Madison Square Garden, and they took it down. They took it down. And a lot of well, there are some banners up there. But like, do you know how bad of a human being you have to have your banner taken down for Madison Square Garden? Like, dog, just take Terry off the cover. He said the N-word. Well, a lot of y'all be saying the N-word. That's another story. But as for Brock Lesnar, I think that this was obviously a great move for business. We all know how accomplished Brock is in the ring, but this is one of those things where you don't, these allegations are very, very sticky. These allegations aren't necessarily the best. And so anybody that is associated with that, I feel like it's going to be kind of dealt with in a way that is going to probably take them out of positions to be prominently featured on WWE programming, WWE product, merchandise, and video games are part of that line. I'm very surprised that like John Cena was not the primary go-to person to put on a WrestleMania cover,
Right.
considering he won his first WWE title at WrestleMania
He was there
21.
for 20 years of the 40.
Right, he was 21. He won the title. 22 Triple H main event. 23 main event. 24. I don't think he was main event, but like he main evented a good amount of WrestleManias and also won and was also the face of your company during the PG era along with Randy. Or I don't know. Listen, man, but I think that it was just good business that they took him off. Um, I believe that we are just now hitting the surface of these allegations. We heard some stuff today regarding Ashley and John Laurinaitis. Ashley, who rest in peace, was a former WWE diva who had like accusations against certain WWE officials about being, unfortunately sexually assaulted and or raped in Kuwait, and it was you know, she said that John Laurinaitis tried to cover it up. John Laurinaitis denied it, and then a former executive came out and then said that Ashley's story was true. So these allegations, I believe we are just now kind of scratching the surface. And it's just really, really unfortunate and sad. But back to the case of Brock, I think that this was a very, very smart business move. And I think that once again, we have just scratched the surface. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens within the next year because I feel like a lot of quote unquote legends' names are going to be brought up. But we want to know how you guys feel about Brock Lesnar being taken off of the 40 years of WrestleMania edition cover of WWE 2K24. Let us know in the comments below. But we're going to be moving on because in another huge move today, TNA Wrestling has fired Scott D'Amore. Only weeks after Stardom released a couple of their executives, or one of their executives, and the grounds of his termination was a breach of contract. I don't know what's happening because this has happened to TNA, this has happened to Stardom. Um, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about Scott D'Amore losing that TNA president position just weeks after successfully rebranding back into TNA from Impact?
Well, sorry. Well, Excuse my throat. Excuse my throat. Um, yeah. Well, I don't. I'm obviously not an avid watcher of TNA, but I just do think off of like timing that's really weird. That's a
Mm-hmm.
very weird thing because I mean TNA has. It feels like it's officially back on the map. It actually feels like it's a product that people want to tune into just as much as maybe tuning into Raw and AEW. So, Raw and AEW, WWE and AEW. Oh my
Right.
god. Excuse my CTE, y'all. Um,
Not my CT.
yes, yes, excuse my CTE. No, it's just they put on a somewhat decent. I actually didn't like that last pay per view, but they've been putting on a decent show, weekly shows. Apparently, they just sat there and updated the titles and all that stuff. People's happy over there. I think it's pretty odd timing that yeah, they did just kind of release this man. Did they ever explain why they got rid of him?
They never really disclosed any details. But a lot of
No.
wrestlers have been kind of showing support in his favor, so I don't think that it was
Right.
anything. Yeah.
I don't know nothing about the guy outside of me reading earlier today that he kind of was in favor of Ms. Blanchard even though she kind of screwed up and we all know what she did to La Negra Rose.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like to me when I was scrolling through off of his name trending, as Jordan put it, a lot of wrestlers seem like they were bothered and sad by it. So part of me is wondering, like, does something sketchy happen that they just randomly gave him the boot at such a odd timing?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like what exactly occurred? So, oh, I'm dropping my laptop. God. Am I back?
Yeah,
Am
you're
I
good. You're
okay?
good. You're good. You're
I
still
was
here.
like, God damn it, I ruined the show. I'm sorry, people. If you're listening, this is a hot mess. CTE and a laptop falling. Um, no, from what I was trying to say before was that I just feel like there's going to be more information that's going to unravel about this before I could fully comment because it's kind of giving that this was like an unfair, abrupt move that happened that
Mm.
the whole entire roster is not exactly in agreement with. I don't really have an opinion on this Scott D'Amore person. I don't really know too much about him. So I'm going to pass it over to you, Jordan, because if you know anything about him, though his work, how you feel about it, any theories you have, lay it on us.
So I feel like the releasing Scott Demore from TNA is the equivalent of releasing Triple H from WWE. We're
Mm,
talking about someone who has a lot of creative input, creative influence, someone who is very, very instrumental in the development of the infrastructure of TNA, someone who has kind of taken the product of Impact Wrestling from when it was obscure and when it wasn't in the best shape to rebranding it, refurbishing it, and repairing it so that they can attract talent and also put themselves in position to do business with multiple wrestling companies. This is a wrestling company that we talk about the Forbidden Door. This is one of the only companies that's been able to successfully work with WWE, AEW, and New Japan Pro Wrestling within the past 3 to 4 years, which says a lot about the character of the people there and just how willing they are to do business and doing cool stuff for the fans. Scott D'Amore was somebody who was well loved by a lot of the wrestlers. And in fact, I believe that Moose was the one who said if there was no Scott D'Amore in TNA, there would be no Moose in TNA. And considering that he is the current world champion, he's the current face of the brand. I think that that says a lot. I do think it's a little bit suspicious though, and I think it can kind of go in, one or two ways. One, I think it's, you know, there's been suspicions of talent being poached from multiple wrestling companies. It may have something to do with that. Or Anthem itself, which is the parent company of TNA, wants to put it on the Ring of Honor path. Somebody kind of pointed out online that this is kind of the first step that Ring of Honor took when right before they kind of, went super, super downhill was they removed a very, very powerful figure who was very, very instrumental in the infrastructure of that company. And the next thing you know, everything fell down. And I think that, those are the two possibilities that I'm seeing right now. But once again, like you said, we need to find out more information. But Scott D'Amore is one of those people that what he did with TNA was so remarkable that he is going to have a job by next week. Like like whether it's WWE or it's AEW or it's Ring of Honor, he will be working somewhere because he has a knack for talent. He has a knack for rebuilding creative environments. And I just think that we're going to see him somewhere else. But I want to know how everybody else feels about this. How do you guys feel about Scott D'Amore being fired from TNA Wrestling? But we're going to move on to the next and last topic of the show because a while ago, I believe in August, we were talking about Cash Wheeler and his road rage incident where he flashed a gun and kind of put it on somebody. Well, it looks like that prosecutors are pursuing charges against Cash. His hearing is set for February 20th. Uh, do you see this spelling the end for FTR? What's next for Cash and Dax if this goes through?
I never like envisioned them doing a singles run.
Mm,
And it's not a good look. I mean, it's quite possible he could get fired over it, and rightfully so because I read through the whole entire thing. Sir got mad about someone driving not fast enough in the slow lane, and you went around, and you still pulled. The person actually allowed you to pass, and you still pulled over and whipped out your gun like an asshole. Like who does that? Like you have to have some severe anger issues to do that and assert your dominance. Like the person, it wasn't like they were like playing cat and mouse on the road or whatnot. It wasn't like this
mm,
person was driving slow in the fast lane or the middle lane. It was a slow lane, the lane that you get off at an exit. Why are you upset?
right.
Especially again, the person pulled over. The person wasn't trying to resist you. The person was trying to come at you. You felt the need to step out and do what white people do best and colonize everything, including the road. Apparently, the road was yours at that time, Mr. Cashwheeler, and you want to pull out a gun on somebody. Like, I don't blame the guy for pressing charges, and he was very smart to act like he was going to work and then tell him the rest for his
Mm,
own safety. Very smart move. Good on him. I don't think that type of behavior should be rewarded. I feel like when you're I feel like when you're a wrestler, you're a celebrity, and I feel like you need to carry yourself a very certain type of way, just
mhm,
because you are a constant reflection of the company that you are assigned to. And it just kind of comes off like you don't give a shit about this company, your position, and the the TV time that you get on that other people aren't getting, because
mhm,
look at the stuff that you're doing off the clock that is not only risking yourself but also you're in a direct connection to our company, so it's a bad look on the type of people that we hire, that we choose to put on TV, that we choose to give the belts to.
mm,
You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure Tony doesn't want to have people like that representing them.
mm.
So to be honest, if he gets punished, I'm gonna feel bad for his partner, because I mean no one deserves that. I mean, like, but at the same time, I mean, again, you're disrespecting him and you're disrespecting Tony. You're disrespecting the whole AEW company by doing some stuff like that.
Yeah.
He should be reprimanded. Honestly, I do hope he serves some time. I'm not sure how much time goes hand in hand with what was it, aggravated assault or with a
Something like that,
firearm,
or attempted
some
murder, something like that. Yeah, something like that.
murder.
Something
Not
like that.
murder, not a murder. I'm just saying, I don't think they're gonna survive separately just because you're so used to seeing them together. um I would say I hope they don't get fired, because if you fire one, then the other one's gonna be left hanging,
Right.
and it's like, where else would you go? TNA? Or does New Japan even have a tag team division?
Absolutely, absolutely, they do.
Okay, yeah, okay, but yeah, that was a dumb question. CT. Um, I'm gonna use that card all day.
All day,
C-
all week, just
CTE.
CTE.
No saying. I mean, that's probably their only next best bet. I'm not sure how strict they over there in Japan if you pull someone over and point a gun at them. But I'm pretty sure he'll learn next time. What do you think about this, Jordan?
I was looking up I guess the charge. It's the state of Florida versus Daniel Marshall Wheeler on aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. I think that is the official charge. But man, let this have been one of us. I feel like it would be more talked about. It would be in more circulation than it is now. I actually kind of see Dax doing a singles run, so I'm not really that much concerned about him.
Really?
But like you said, to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying, like you do the crime, you do the time, right? Like if stuff like this, it's unacceptable and it's extremely irresponsible. to be pulling out a grip in broad day, well, night, but pulling out a
Whoa,
grip.
whoa.
What?
Pulling out a grip at night.
Pulling out a grip at night. Pulling out a grip at night. But it's
I'm
just super
sorry.
yeah.
That
That's
still
I
needs
did
a pause.
try.
That still needs
I
a
still need
pause
a
for me.
pause. As you
That
did
still need
right.
a pause. What are you gripping at night?
Because but yeah, hey. But I feel like stuff like that is just very, very irresponsible. And considering not only that you're a talent in a company and that you are a celebrity, you're also pretty much the face of tag team wrestling over the past 2 to 3 years. You can't be walking around here saying that you're the best tag team in the world and that you're the best and da 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 da, and then you pull out the grip at night. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. And if you do the crime, you do the time. Obviously, like that's like we want to see you win. This is never like a comfortable conversation to have. It's like, yeah, you're going to jail, woo. But at the same time, it's like, dog, you can't be doing that. And so I feel like you need to be dealt with accordingly. But I hope that, there is some type of resolution that is just in all of this. But we want to know how you guys feel. How do you feel about Cash Wheeler potentially seeing some prison time because of him pulling out the grip at night? But that concludes our show for today. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you guys next week. Woo!